Well, hello everyone. It is Friday, May the 6th, 2022, the first Friday in May of 2022. I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and this is your status chat. Hope you had a good, safe Cinco de Mayo. It's a good day. It's a good day to reach out and visit with folks and have a good time, but I hope you did that successfully and safely. So I do have the numbers, and we will look at them just a second from now. But first I want to say, don't be discouraged in these times. We've already got enough to be discouraged by. It's already difficult. Certainly you can handle the new that's coming at you. You really can. And who knows, there are things that we can't anticipate. The bottom line is don't lose hope and don't quit. Okay? Can't never could. If you're just sitting back doing not much is going to happen for you. So anyway, I just want to say that. Here we go, and let's get into that middle segment. As always, you will find the full link to anything that we actually open up and look at within our status chat in the status chat's description over on the YouTube page in which it appears. Now, unless you have been living under a rock this last week, we do know that we had a couple of things in the news. Well, we have a famous couple trial going on, and that's a little bit tough for a lot of folks. But we also have a Supreme Court thing leaked just in time to draw discussion away from the economy and what we're seeing because the Fed took action. Now let's go ahead and look at what the Fed did. Here we are. We have different things. I only look for Fed interest news. I mean, that was by keyword search. I didn't look real hard for you on this because I think it's self-explanatory. And I only looked at one of these. Let's pick this one up. This one is interesting from CNN. Fed raises interest rates as it tries to catch up with inflation. If you remember in the past status chats, I've said the Fed initially said how much it was going to do 6 times over a period, and they talked about maybe that'd be enough to rein in inflation. If inflation doesn't rein in on that, it might have to go more aggressively. With that in mind, let's look over here at this one. It's got a beehive. I guess that's a beehive. I'm not really sure who Discreet News is, but Google thinks they're worthy. Apparently it's in Utah, so maybe there's something else other than that. But it says right here, Discreet News, there's your link. U.S. inflation hit a 12-month rate of 8.5% in March, according to the most recent report by the U.S. Department of Labor. This story is by Art Raymond. Cinco de Mayo, happened to be my birthday, May 5, 2022 at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This is in their business world, U.S. and world, and Utah type news is what it says up there, Discreet News. Okay, here we go. Now they show us a nice little picture. I don't know by the way, I don't know if you've noticed it, but food prices have gone way, way up, along with a lot of other things. Now we can look, let's go back and look at this, what it says. The price of large box of Rice Krispies treats, this is a carriage return line feed, is pictured at a local grocery store in Salt Lake City, Utah, obviously, on April 11, 2022, following through on its promise to aggressively aiming to staunch record high U.S. inflation. The Federal Reserve bumped the benchmark lending rate 0.5%, or 500 basis points, I guess it is, on Wednesday, the biggest incremental jump in 22 years. Doesn't sound like we're headed for good times, so we need to be prepared for it. Not to be panicky, not to be negative, not to be overly positive, but to be realistic. This is what we're dealing with. Following through on this promise of an aggressive action aiming to staunch, I don't know the use of that word there, record high inflation, the Federal Reserve bumped its benchmark leading rate 2.5% on Wednesday, the biggest incremental jump in 22 years. I like repeating that because that's the important part. It's a big jump. Normally they'll only take it up a quarter point or less, something around that. They took it up a full half point. That to me tells me they're signaling something is going to be tough on us. Inflation is going to be tough on us, and we can scale right through this. Now, of course, immediately there behind it is I'm considering to buy a house. Will mortgage rates keep going up? Of course, they're going to keep going up. They will not jump to exponentially super fast. But if you'll go onto my website and get the mortgage calculator and you'll put your information that is accurate to you or as best you think it's accurate to you, and then just go from one interest rate to the next, click it up and see how much it affects how much house you can buy, because that's going to be a real thing for us to deal with, is how much can you buy if the rate goes up. It's not that the rate's going to just jump through into double digits overnight. It won't do that. You'll have signs that it's coming. The point is, you need to be ready, and you need to be considering this as a real possibility. Some people think that the housing market is going to crash and prices are going to crash. I don't believe that, not in Middle Tennessee with so many people coming here. But it's definitely going to affect what your ratios are going to affect. Just like the rate is going to affect what you can buy, just like your ratios are going to affect what you can buy. So just be on top of it. Look at that and be realistic. Don't be pessimistic. Don't cry that the world's over, and don't think that you're going to pick up the crumbs of someone else's disaster. That's not a good place to be. But just be informed. I think that's the key. We want you to be informed. I want you to be informed. So, and then it goes on down about car loans. Where it's really going to hit people hard is in their automobiles and their credit cards, and that's going to also trim back some of your things, because if you can pay less money on the balance because interest is higher, that means your debt to equity ratio is going to go up on some things, and your debt to income ratios are going to go up on some things. So it's a real thing. So anyway, I'll save this article for you in the description, but just be aware, all I'm trying to tell you is we've hit a 22-year high on the size of bump the Fed did, and that's the purpose of raising the interest rate on lending. The general interest rate on lending is to curb inflation. So that to me tells me we're getting ready to have a tough ride coming up. We can do it. You can do it. I can do it. But we need to buckle down and be realistic about what we've got going on. All right, let's return you to the rest of the show so we don't take up too much of your Friday. Appreciate you watching. Hello, I'm Del Delbert of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, Call Del to Sell. That's one L in Del, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout, and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Now that we have that over with, let's look at last week's and this week's numbers, see how we did. Well, for 29.22, we had 8, 7, 11 in the opportunities, which was a slight increase over the previous week. We had a 43.74 level in the under contract, still showing it also was going up a little bit, and the ratio at the integer level stayed the same between those two numbers. Now this week we have 98.5 in the opportunities, and for weeks now the inventory has been increasing what we see out there. Now we see 43.73, except for one unit remained exactly the same, but I'll still give it a down arrow. So the ratio between those two jumped 2 percentage points at the integer level. And what that tells me is we're getting a little bit more inventory out there. We're not holding on to them quite as tightly, but we're still moving. We're in the spring selling season, spring buying season, depending on which side of the transaction you are. And we're doing pretty good, it looks like. Remember, we're Middle Tennessee. We're not the rest of the world. We're not even East or West Tennessee, like in the Memphis area, which is, I think, if you've seen something from Realtor.com, it's one of the markets, top markets, where prices are trending down quickly. Is Memphis happens to be one of the top few. I could do a show on that, but the bottom line is we're not them. Okay, so you need to be ready for what's facing you today, and you know what you got to do. Call Del to sell, call Del to buy. Have a great weekend.